Hi, I'm Morgan, and for the last 2.5 years I've been creating my own Pokémon for my own region called Torgan. I've decided that I would like to share my ideas in a video. So this video will be introducing the 3 starter Pokemon for this region and the concepts behind them. These were the very first Pokemon I designed when I was creating the Torgon region, and I would never have imagined that I'd be sharing them with everyone like this. So I hope you like them, and let me know who your favourite starter is in the comments below. Meet Cactile, the cactus lizard Pokemon. Cactile can last several weeks without water, hence they inhabit arid environments normally too harsh for other Pokemon. They bask in direct sunlight to photosynthesize to replenish their energy after battle. So it's based on the thorny devil lizard, as I wanted to have the grass type to include cactus elements because I think it's cool how they can survive in such harsh conditions where other plants aren't able to survive. So in order to fully realise this idea, I started researching spiky animals on Google to get ideas, and that's where I came across the thorny devil. And I thought this was the perfect combination with a cactus, as they both live in deserts. Now, one of my favourite starter Pokemon is Trico as well, so this may have contributed to why I like this idea as much as I did. The tail is designed like a classic cactus shape, and the curved spines reflect the shape of the thorny devil spikes as well. I also made the eyes red, as the thorny devil is capable of shooting blood from their eyes as a defense mechanism, so it's a reference to that, although I think it'd be a bit too dark for a Pokemon to be shooting blood from their eyes. But in a way to reference that, I think it'll learn moves like Tearful Look or Fake Tears, and maybe as well like Acid or Acid Spray, and I can picture it shooting the acid from its eyes, a bit how like Snorlax uses Hyper Beam. So yeah, but this red eye colouring also started a trend in the other starter Pokemon, where they have eye colours that represent the type they're weak to. So the red is referencing the fire type, and then as we go on we'll see the fire type having blue and the water type having green. So as a grass type starter, of course, its regular ability is Overgrow, but then as its hidden ability I decided that it had to be Rough Skin, as it's a cactus, it's covered in spines, so kind of makes sense. For its stats, I decided that it would be a slow, physically defensive Pokemon to reflect its hardy nature, and as it evolves, it's going to get slower as its defenses become more developed. It also has a higher attack than special attack, so it can utilise its sharp spines in battle through moves like Leaf Blade. Here are its shiny colours. The eyes are now green to reflect its grass typing, which this is also a trend that's continued in the other starter Pokemon as well. And its body is now a more sandy colour to reference the desert where they can be found. And I also gave the pink underbelly to refer to that normally these parts of the body are softer. I don't know why though, these colours just make me think of Neapolitan ice cream though. So if I had a shiny Cactile on my team, I think I would call it Neapolitan. Its colours are also referencing the type it will gain when it is fully evolved in its final stages. And this is also a trend that is seen in the other starter Pokemon as well. So that is the grass type starter Cactile, a perfect choice for patient and strategic trainers. Next, on to the fire starter. Here is Cotorch, the Coty Pokemon. The muscles in Cotorch's tail have not fully developed yet, therefore they must carry their tail around. Cotorch live in dense woodlands, and there are many local stories about them leading children back home after they became lost. Normally before the Torgon region, I would look at the Chinese zodiac to determine ideas for fire-type starters. However, I believe Fuecoco definitively ends this trend, even if it was everything to begin with. I also decided that I wanted to give some distinction between the different starters by picking different groups of animals. So I decided that because I did a reptile in Cactile, I couldn't do a reptile for the other two. I came up with this idea of a flame at the end of a tail that a Pokemon would strike along the ground to light it up like a match. So this got me started into googling animals with long tails, and that's where I found the Coty, and it gave me an idea for its evolution, which I'm not going to go into here, but when you get to see the evolution in a future video. But then, because of this long tail, I thought it would carry it around like a torch, and since it's a small Pokemon, it couldn't move its tail independently. Yeah, that was something it would gain access to as it grew and evolved. And that's when the idea really came together. And if you like that match idea, don't worry, it was used in another Pokemon in this region, which hopefully I'll make a video on later on as well. As you can see, it has blue eyes, again referencing the type that it's weak to, so water, and its fur have bands which are ash grey, reflecting the dark bands that are present on Coty's. I also decided to give it a raccoon mask as I thought it looked cute. Its ability, of course, fire-type starter, is Blaze, and then as a hidden ability, it is Lightning Rod, as it can use its tail to draw in electrical attacks. Its stats are for a fast special attacker, as I'm picturing you firing off attacks using its tail, like sweeping it back and forth, and then quickly running up trees to avoid confrontation. And here is its shiny. It now has the red eyes to indicate fire types, and the yellow and light blue colour scheme is to reflect the secondary type it's going to gain in its final stage. Feel free to let me know your guesses for the secondary type of all the starter Pokemon. I think this one might be a little obvious, but we'll see. I also went with dark blue for the nose and the feet because of blue nose bears. So that is Cotorch, a kind partner for trainers on a long journey. Now onto the water type starter. Finally, meet the bubble crab Pokemon Crabubble. Crabubble's strong claws can crush rock, which contains the algae it eats. They've remained unchanged for millions of years due to living deep within the oceans. And it is also an accident that all of my starter Pokemon have names beginning with the letter C. So I knew by my own rules I couldn't have a mammal or a reptile for the water starter. And I also knew that I wanted to have it be able to move effectively on land as well as in water, as that is something that is seen within other water-type starters. I also decided that I really wanted to do an invertebrate starter, as every single starter Pokemon that I can think of is a vertebrate. And then I realised that there has not been a horseshoe crab Pokemon yet, and I feel like it would be a perfect candidate to be turned into a Pokemon because unique shape, living deep within the oceans, and having existed since prehistoric times. So, hence, that's where Crabubble comes in. I decided to give it claws like a normal crab, as well as making it a quite spherical shape to make it look like a bubble, and hence the name Crabubble. I could see it being a relative of Kabuto, as Kabuto is based on trilobites and horseshoe crabs are their closest living relatives. So its ability is Torrent, but its hidden ability is Weak Armor, as I can see this Pokemon being a physical attacker with decent defenses, but is meant to be used to end a battle quickly and not go in for like drawn out matches. Hence Weak Armor, so it can take a couple of hits, but it'll get faster, but it's also more likely to go down quicker. And I've given it stats to reflect this, with it having a large attack stat with decent defenses and decent speed as well. As you can see, it has the green eyes to reflect its weakness to the grass type, completing the trend I established with Cactile. Here is its shiny. The eyes are now blue to reflect its water typing, completing that trend, and it also has a lime green body to provide a hint at what its secondary typing it's going to get in its final stage. This is also a colour that I really like in shiny Pokemon, but I think I'm in the minority of liking lime green shinies. I also changed the body under its shell's colour slightly, so it's now a lighter shade of green rather than the turquoise. So that is Crabubble, a Pokemon for experienced trainers, but worth the effort to train. So that's the starter Pokemon for the Torgon region, and I hope you really like them. I will also quickly introduce you to the base protagonists I've designed for the region, and their names are Otto and Marie, which is a reference to what the main themes of the game is about, which I would talk about in future videos, but feel free to speculate based on that. I know the male one is the same as I used before to represent me at the start of the video. Maybe if I make lots of these videos, I might actually create a unique character for me, but we'll see. I will also show you Professor Aspin, who will provide you with your starter Pokemon. I gave him a tweed style jacket, as that's just something that screams Professor to me. But yeah, that's everything. They're the starters: Cactile, Cotorch, and Crabubble, as well as trainers and Professor of the Torgon region. As I have said at the beginning, I have been designing Torgon for over 2 years, so I have all the materials for the region pretty much already. So what I would like to ask everyone who watched to the end would be, how would you like me to present the region to you? I could do it in a similar style to what I've done now, which is where I show you the Pokemon, their Pokedex entries, a bit of information about the design process, and then do like a separate video going into the region, the towns, and then the story. Or I could do something similar to Pokemon Cardinal, where it is a series which will take you through the region a bit more closer to an actual Pokemon game. This would take longer, and you would have to bear with my minimal acting ability, as it is just me making these videos, but let me know which one of these you would prefer, or if you have any other suggestions on how to present it, feel free to let me know. So yeah, that's everything I have to show to you now, but thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed my starter Pokemon. All that is left now is to ask, which one will you choose?